How are you guys doing? Today is Sunday, July 4th, 2021. I'm James Sims, and for this episode of The Elite, I'm going to review the Elite matchups and performances from yesterday, Saturday, July 3rd. And of course, I'm going to preview everything that's going on today as we navigate through the world of sports. But of course, it's worth noting that, of course, the Nathan's Hot Dog contest is probably the biggest competition of the day. Joey Chestnut looking to beat his record of eating 75 hot dogs literally at a time. Disgusting, but the fact that he can do it is probably one of the most impressive feats in all sports. So of course I'm going to give him a little bit of a shout out today. So first, looking out to the NHL Stanley Cup does not continue until tomorrow, as tomorrow is Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Final, as the Montreal Canadiens, the Northern Division champs, will host the Tampa Bay Lightning out of the Central, the reigning Stanley Cup champs. Just to give a sense of what's going on in the NHL. Looking at what's going on in the NBA, the amount of teams competing for the 2021 NBA Finals trophy has decreased from 3 to 2, as the 5th seed out of the Eastern Conference, Atlanta Hawks, hosted the 3rd seed out of the Eastern Conference, Milwaukee Bucks, and the Bucks were able to eliminate the Atlanta Hawks to advance out of the Eastern Conference into the NBA Finals. Looking at how the Atlanta Hawks finished for their, or just looking at this matchup, the big difference would be the third quarter, as the Bucks outscored the Hawks 44-29 by 15. For the Atlanta Hawks in their final game of their 2020-2021 campaign, their leading scorer will come off the bench, as their small forward out of Duke, Cam Reddish, would finish with 21 points in 29 minutes. He shot 7 for 12 from the field, 6 for 7 from 3, and 1 for 2 from the foul line. In their starting lineup, their starting shooting guard, Bogdan Bogdanovic, would finish with 20 points and 3 steals in 37 minutes, as he shot 7 for 12 from the field and 4 for 5 from the foul line. And in his final game of his third season in the league, their elite starting point guard Trae Young out of Oklahoma would finish with 14 points, 4 rebounds, 9 assists, and 5 turnovers in 35 minutes, as he shot 4 for 17 from the field and 6 for 7 from the foul line. For the Milwaukee Bucks, the 3rd seed in this matchup, their leading scorer would end up being their starting small forward, Chris Middleton. The former Eastern Conference All-Star would finish with 32 points, 7 assists, 3 steals, and 7 turnovers in 41 minutes, as he shot 10 for 22 from the field, 4 for 10 from 3, and a perfect 8 for 8 from the foul line. Also alongside him in the starting lineup, their all-defensive point guard, Jrue Holiday, would finish with 27 points, 9 rebounds, 9 assists, 4 steals, 2 blocks, and 6 turnovers in 42 minutes, as he would go on to shoot 11 for 23 from the field. And with this win, the 3rd seed Milwaukee Bucks will advance to face off against the Phoenix Suns and the NBA Finals, as the amount of teams in the NBA competing for the title has shrunk down from 3 to 2, ending off what was a great run in the playoffs for an Atlanta Hawks team that didn't even make the playoffs last year. So that is what the NBA is looking like following yesterday's game, as of course the NBA Finals will not pick up until Tuesday, to give a sense of how that scheduling looks out. But looking out to what's going on in the MLB, starting off in New York, the New York Yankees hosted the New York Mets, and all of the runs would take place in the 5th and 6th innings, as the Mets would beat the Yankees 8-9. For the Yankees in this matchup, the start and the loss will go to Jordan Montgomery. Jordan Montgomery will go on to allow 3 earned runs in 4.1 innings pitched, as he struck out 6. With this loss, Jordan Montgomery is 3-3 on the season. In their batting lineup, nobody on the team would finish with more than 1 hit. Their elite right fielder, Aaron Judge, would go 1 for 4 with an RBI and a run. Judge would hit his 19th home run of the season yesterday. For the New York Mets, the start and the win would go to Taijuan Walker, who allowed 2 earned runs in 5.2 innings pitched, as he struck out 5. With this win, Taijuan Walker is 7-3 on the year. In their batting lineup, their center fielder, Brandon Nimmo, will go 3 for 6 with 2 runs. Their elite shortstop, Francisco Lindor, will go 2 for 4 with an RBI and 2 runs. Their first baseman, Dominic Smith, will go 3 for 5 with 3 RBIs and 2 runs. Their second baseman, Jeff McNeil, will go 2 for 4 with a run. And then their third baseman, Jose Peraza, would end up going 2 for 5 with a run. With this win, the New York Mets are now 42-36. That is the best record in the National League East, as they've won 5 of their last 10. Right now, they are holding holding on to the second seed in the National League, or they're holding on to the third seed in the National League as they sit third amongst division leaders in the conference. With this loss, the New York Yankees are now 40-41. That is the fourth best record in the American League East. They have now lost their last 2 games, and they've lost 7 of their last 10. They now trail the Boston Red Sox by 9.5 games in the division, and they are currently trailed the Tampa Bay Rays by 5 games for the second American League wildcard spot. Jumping out to Buffalo, the Toronto Blue Jays hosted the Tampa Bay Rays. They're not yet allowed to host them in Canada yet. The Blue Jays were able to beat the Rays 6-3 after scoring 5 runs in the 6th inning alone to get them up there in the first place. For the Tampa Bay Rays, the defending American League champs, the start and the loss would end up being given to Shane McClanahan. Shane McClanahan would allow 3 earned runs in 5.1 innings pitched as he struck out 5. With this loss, McClanahan is 3-3 on the year. In their batting lineup, nobody on the team would finish with more than 1 hit, as their right fielder Manuel Margot would go 1-for-4 with an RBI and a run. He hit his 9th home run of the season. For the Toronto Blue Jays, the start will go to Ross Stripling. He allowed an earned run in 5.2 innings pitched as he struck out 5. The win will go to the Blue Jays' first relief pitcher, Adam Cimber, as Cimber allowed no earned runs and only 1 hit in 1 inning pitched. With this win, Cimber is 2-2 on the year, and in their batting lineup, their third baseman, Santiago Espinal, was the only player with more than 1 hit. He would go 2-for-3 with 2 RBIs and a run on the day as he hit his first home run of the season for the Blue Jays. With this win, the Toronto Blue Jays are now 43-38. That is the third best record in the American League East. They've won their last 2 games, and they've won 7 of their last 10. They now trail the division-leading Boston Red Sox by 7.5 games in the division, and they now trail the Tampa Bay Rays for the second wildcard spot by 3 games, as the Toronto Blue Jays are the first team on the outside looking in at the moment. With this loss, the Tampa Bay Rays are now 47-36. That is the second best record in the American League East, as they've lost their last 5 games and they've lost 6 of their last 10. They now trail the division-leading Boston Red Sox by 4.5 games in the division. They are currently holding the second American League wildcard spot, as they have the same amount of losses and they have 2 less wins than the Oakland Athletics, which is why they're holding on to that second spot by a full game. And they sit 3 games ahead of the Toronto Blue Jays, who are the first team on the outside of the American League wildcard picture looking in. Jumping out to Philadelphia, the Philadelphia 76ers hosted the Slam Diego Padres, and the Phillies were able to pull away with a 4-2 win at home after they were able to break the tie in the 6th inning thanks to a sacrifice fly from Bryce Harper and a double from Rhys Hoskins. For the San Diego Padres, the start and the loss will go to their elite starting pitcher, Yu Darvish. He allowed 4 earned runs in 6 innings pitched as he struck out 8. With this loss, Yu Darvish is 7-3 on the season, and in their batting lineup, nobody on the team would finish with more than 1 hit. A lot of that can be attributed to great pitching from the Phillies. As for the Padres, their elite third baseman, Manny Machado, would go 1-for-4 with 2 RBIs and a run. He would hit his 13th home run of the season. For the Philadelphia Phillies, the start and the win would go to Zach Eflin, who allowed 2 earned runs in 6 innings pitched as he struck out 2. With this win, Zach Eflin is 3-6 on the year, and the save will go to Ranger Suarez, who picked up his first save of the season. Their first baseman, Rhys Hoskins, would be the only player with more than 1 hit, as he went 2-for-3 with 2 RBIs and a run. And he would also hit his 18th home run of the season. Their elite right fielder, Bryce Harper, would go 1-for-3 with 2 RBIs and a run, as Harper hit his 14th home run of the season. With this win, the Philadelphia Phillies are now 39-41. That is the 4th best record in the National League East, as they've won their last 2 games and they've won 5 of their last 10. They now trailed the New York Mets by 4 games in the division alongside the Atlanta Braves to give a sense of where the Phillies sit. With this loss, the San Diego Padres are now 49-36. That is the 3rd best record in the National League West, as they've lost their last 3 games and they've lost 4 of their last 10. They currently trail the San Francisco Giants by 4.5 games in the division, and right now they are holding the second National League wildcard spot, as they sit 4 games behind the defending World Series champs, the Los Angeles Dodgers, and they currently sit 5.5 games ahead of the Cincinnati Reds, who are the very first team on the outside looking in from a National League wildcard perspective. Jumping out to Pittsburgh, the Pittsburgh Pirates hosted their division one of their division rivals, the Milwaukee Brewers. The Brewers would end up beating the Pirates 11-2 to give Lauer his 3rd win of the season. For the Pittsburgh Pirates, the start and the loss will go to Cody Ponce. Ponce will go on to allow 5 earned runs in 1.2 innings pitched as he struck out 3. With this loss, Cody Ponce is 0-2 on the year. In their batting lineup, their left fielder Ben Gamel will go 2 for 4 with an RBI and 2 runs. He hit his 4th home run of the season. For the Milwaukee Brewers, the start and the win was given to their starting pitcher, Eric Lauer. Lauer would allow 1 earned run in 6.1 innings pitched as he struck out 4. With this win, Eric Lauer is 3-3 on the year. In their batting lineup, their catcher, Omar Narvaez, would end up going 5 for 6 with an RBI and 3 runs. Big game for him. Their right fielder, Avisail Garcia, will go 4 for 6 with 5 RBIs and a run as he hit his 8th and 9th doubles of the season. Additionally, their second baseman, Jace Peterson, will go 2 for 5 with 3 RBIs. With this win, the Milwaukee Brewers are now 51-33. That is the best record in the National League Central, and they are currently holding on to the 2nd seed in the National League at the moment. They have the best streak in baseball as they have won their last 11 games. They now sit 8 games in the division ahead of the second place Cincinnati Reds to give a sense of how well the Brewers have been playing as of late. With this loss, the Pittsburgh Pirates are now 29-53. That is the worst record in the National League Central, and that is the 2nd worst record in the entire National League. They've lost their last 6 games, and they've lost 7 of their last 10. They now trail the Milwaukee Brewers by 21 whole games in the division. Jumping out to Cincinnati, the Cincinnati Reds hosted the Chicago Cubs, yet another NL Central matchup. And this one, the Reds would end up beating the Cubs 3-2 as they were able to break the 2-2 tie in the 7th inning thanks to a Eugenio Suarez RBI single. For the Chicago Cubs in this matchup, the start and the loss will go to Adbert Alzolay, who allowed 3 earned runs in 7 innings pitched as he struck out 6. With this loss, Alzolay is 4-8 on the year. In their batting lineup, their elite third baseman, Chris Bryant, will go 3 for 5 with an RBI and a run. He hit his 16th home run of the season. He was the only player on the Cubs to finish with more than 1 hit on the day. For the Cincinnati Reds, the start would end up going to Tyler Mahle. Mahle would allow 2 runs in 5 innings pitched as he struck out 7. The win will go to the Reds' second relief pitcher, Ryan Hendricks, as Hendricks allowed no earned runs in 1.1 inning pitched. He is now 4-1 on the season as the save was given to the Reds closer, Heath Hembree. Hembree would allow no earned runs and only 1 hit in 2 innings pitched as he struck out a batter. That'll be his 3rd save of the season. In the Reds batting lineup, their first baseman, Joey Votto, will go 2 for 2 with an RBI and 2 runs. He hit his 11th home run of the season yesterday as he was the only player on the Reds with more than 1 hit. With this win, the Cincinnati Reds are now 42-40. That is the 2nd best record in the National League Central. They've won their last 3 games, and they've won 6 of their last 10. They now sit 8 games behind the Milwaukee Brewers, and they are currently the first team behind the San Diego Padres in the National League wildcard race, as they sit 5.5 games behind them. With this loss, the Chicago Cubs are now 42-41. That is the 3rd best record in the National League Central, as they have now lost their last 8 games. They've lost 8 of their last 10. They now trail the Milwaukee Brewers by 8.5 games in the division to give a sense of where the Cubs are. Jumping out to Kansas City, the Kansas City Royals hosted the Minnesota Twins in an AL Central face-off. In this matchup, the Royals would beat the Twins 6-3 after scoring all 6 of their runs in the 4th and 5th innings. For the Minnesota Twins, the start and the loss would end up going to their starting pitcher, Griffin Jax. Jax would allow 6 earned runs in 5 innings pitched as he struck out 3. With this loss, Jax is 1-1 on the year. In their batting lineup, their second baseman, Jorge Polanco, would go 2 for 5 with an RBI. And then their pinch-hitting outfielder, Trevor Larnach, would end up going 2 for 2 with an RBI and a run. He hit his 6th home run of the season for the Twins yesterday. For the Kansas City Royals, the start would go to Danny Duffy. He allowed 2 earned runs in 4 innings pitched as he struck out 2. The win will go to their first relief pitcher, Kyle Zimmer, as Zimmer allowed no earned runs in 1 inning pitched. With this win, he's 4-0 on the year. The save was given to the Royals closer for the day, Scott Barlow. Barlow would allow no earned runs and only 1 strikeout. He had only 1 strikeout in 1 inning pitched. That would be his 4th save of the year. In their batting lineup, their second baseman, Hanser Alberto, would go 2 for 4 with a run. And then the only other player with more than 1 hit was their center fielder, Michael Taylor, who would go 2 for 4 with a run. With this win, the Kansas City Royals are now 35-47. That is the 4th best record in the American League Central. They've won their last 2 games, and they've won 2 of their last 10 games. They now trail the Chicago White Sox by 14 games in the division. With this loss, the Minnesota Twins are now 33 and 48. That is the worst record in the American League Central, and that is the third worst record in the American League. The Twins have now lost their last 5 games, and they've lost 7 of their last 10. They now trail the Chicago White Sox by 15.5 games in the division at the moment. Jumping out to Detroit, the Detroit Tigers hosted the American League Central leading Chicago White Sox. In this matchup, the Tigers will pick up the home win, winning 11-5 for the Chicago White Sox in this matchup. The start and the loss will go to former American League Cy Young winner Dallas Keuchel. Keuchel would allow 7 earned runs in 4 innings pitched as he struck out 2. With this loss, Keuchel is 6-3 on the season. In their batting lineup, their elite shortstop Tim Anderson would go 2 for 4 with 2 runs. Their elite designated hitter and reigning American League MVP Jose Abreu would go 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs. Their right fielder Leury Garcia would go 2 for 3 with 3 RBIs and a run as he hit his second home run of the season. For the Detroit Tigers, the start and the win would go to Tariq Skubal, who allowed 5 earned runs in 5 innings pitched as he struck out 6. In the Tigers batting lineup, their first baseman Jonathan Schoop would go 2 for 4 with 3 RBIs and 3 runs. He would go on to hit his 16th home run of the season. Their future Hall of Fame designated hitter Miguel Cabrera would go 2 for 3 with a run. Their left fielder Eric Haas would end up probably being the hitter of the day as he went 3 for 4 with 6 RBIs and 2 runs. He would hit his 10th and 11th home runs of the season as he would outscore the Chicago White Sox with his RBIs alone. With this win, the Detroit Tigers are now 37-46. That is the third best record in the American League Central. They've won 6 of their last 10 games. They now trail the Chicago White Sox by 12.5 games in the division. With this loss, the Chicago White Sox are now 49-33. That is the best record in the American League Central, and out of all American League leaders, they now sit third in the standings. They've now lost 4 of their last 10 games as they currently sit 6 games ahead of the second-place Cleveland Indians in the division. Jumping out to Atlanta, the Atlanta Braves hosted the Miami Marlins, and the Marlins were able to pull off a 3-2 win as they were able to give Sandy Alcantara his 5th win of the season. For the Atlanta Braves, the start and the loss would be given to Kyle Muller. Their 23-year-old pitcher would allow 3 earned runs in 5.2 innings pitched as he struck out 7. With this loss, Kyle Muller is 1-2 on the year. In their batting lineup, their elite first baseman, reigning National League MVP Freddie Freeman would go 3 for 3 with an RBI. Their elite second baseman Ozzie Albies would go 2 for 5 with an RBI as well. For the Miami Marlins, the win would go to their starting pitcher Sandy Alcantara, who allowed 1 run in 6 innings pitched as he struck out 4. With this win, Sandy Alcantara is 5-7 on the season, and the save would go to Yimi Garcia. Garcia would allow no earned runs and only 1 hit in 1 inning pitched as he struck out a batter. He would pick up his 13th save of the year. In their batting lineup, their right fielder Garrett Cooper would go 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and a run as he hit his 7th home run of the season. With this win, the Miami Marlins are now 35-46. That is the worst record in the National League East, as that is the 4th worst record in the National League. They've won 4 of their last 10 games as they now trail the New York Mets by 8.5 games in the division. With this loss, the Atlanta Braves are now 40-42. That is the 3rd best record in the National League East as they have now lost 5 of their last 10 games. They now sit 4 games behind the division-leading New York Mets, just to give a sense of where the Atlanta Braves stand right now. Jumping out to Cleveland, the Cleveland Indians hosted the Houston Astros. The Astros were able to pull off the road win as they beat the Indians 3-2. For the Cleveland Indians on the night, the start and the loss would be given to their starting pitcher, Eli Morgan. Morgan would allow 3 earned runs in 5 innings pitched as he struck out 3. With this loss, Morgan is 1-3 on the year. In their batting lineup, the only player with more than 1 hit was their designated hitter Eddie Rosario. He would go 2 for 4 with 2 runs on the day. In their batting lineup, and then for the Houston Astros, the start and the win will go to Jake Odorizzi. He allowed 2 runs in 6 innings pitched as he struck out 2. With this win, he's 3-3 on the year. The save will go to Ryan Presley as he allowed no earned runs and no hits in 1 inning pitched as he struck out 2. That'll be his 14th save of the season with Houston. In their batting lineup, their first baseman Yuli Gurriel will go 2 for 5. Their shortstop Carlos Correa will go go 2 for 2 with 2 RBIs and a run as he hit his 16th home run of the year. And then their third baseman, Guillermo Toro, Abraham Toro, would end up going 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run. He hit his third home run of the year for Houston. With this win, the Houston Astros are now 51-33. That is the best record in the American League West, as they currently hold the second seed in the American League at the moment. They've won their last 3 games, and they've won 5 of their last 10. They now sit 2.5 games ahead of the second place Oakland Athletics within the division. With this loss, the Cleveland Indians are now 42-38. That is the second best record in the American League Central, as they've lost their last 5 games, and they've lost 8 of their last 10. The Cleveland Indians now trail the Chicago White Sox by 6 games in the division, and they now trail the Tampa Bay Rays by 3.5 games for the second American League wildcard spot, to give a sense of where the Indians sit. Jumping out to Washington, D.C., our nation's capital, the Washington Nationals hosted the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Los Angeles Dodgers were able to pull off a 5-3 win after breaking their 3-3 tie in the 6th inning, thanks to a A.J. Pollock RBI single. They were able to run away with the win. For the Washington Nationals in this matchup, the start would be given to their start would be given to Paolo Espino. Espino would allow 3 earned runs in 4.1 innings pitched as he struck out 2. The loss for the Nationals would go to their second relief pitcher, Wander Suero. Suero would allow a run in 1.1 innings pitched as he struck out 2. With this loss, he's 0-2 on the year. In their batting lineup, their second baseman, who in this matchup was Josh Harrison, went 2 for 4. And then their third baseman, Starlin Castro, would go 2 for 3 with a run as well. For the Los Angeles Dodgers, the defending World Series champs, the start will go to their go-to starting pitcher, Clayton Kershaw. He allowed 3 earned runs in 4 innings pitched as he struck out 3. The win will go to the Dodgers' first relief pitcher, who in this matchup was Brusdar Graterol. Graterol would allow no earned runs in 1 inning pitch as he struck out 2. With his win, he's 1-0 on the season. The save will go to their good old reliable closer, Kenley Jansen, as he allowed no earned runs in 1 hit in 1 inning pitch as he struck out 2. He would pick up his 21st save of the year. In their batting lineup, nobody on the Dodgers would finish with more than 1 hit. But regardless, with this win, the Los Angeles Dodgers are now 52-31 on the season. That is the second best record in the National League West, as they've won their last 8 games. That is the second best streak in baseball to the Milwaukee Brewers. They've won 8 of their last 10 games. In the division, they now trail the San Francisco Giants by half a game, and right now they're holding the top National League wildcard spot as they sit 4 games ahead of the second-place San Diego Padres in the National League wildcard race. With this loss, the Washington Nationals are now 40-41. That is the second best record in the National League East, as they've lost their last 3 games. They've lost 5 of their last 10. They now trail the New York Mets by 3.5 games in the division at the moment. Jumping out to the Bay, the Oakland Athletics hosted the Boston Red Sox, and the Red Sox were able to beat the Athletics 7-6 as the A's beat the Red Sox 7-6 as they outscored the Red Sox 3-2 in the 12th inning. And the Athletics, after the Red Sox scored 2 in the 12th, were able to walk it off thanks to a Tony Kemp sacrifice fly. For the Boston Red Sox in this matchup, the start would go to Garrett Richards as he allowed 2 earned runs in 5 innings pitched, striking out 2. The loss for the Red Sox would go to their closer for the day, who was Matt Andriese. Andriese would allow 3 runs in 0.1 inning pitched as he blew his 3rd save of the season, and with this loss, he's 2-3 on the year. In their batting lineup, their second baseman from LA, Kike Hernandez, would go 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs as well as 2 walks. Kike would hit his 10th home run of the season. Their shortstop, Xander Bogaerts, would go 2 for 5 with a run, and then their catcher, Christian Vasquez, would go 2 for 5 with a run. For the Oakland Athletics, the start would be given to Cole Irvin. Cole Irvin will go on to allow 4 runs in 7 innings pitched as he struck out 5. The win for the Athletics would go to their closer for the day, J.P. Wendelken. J.P. Wendelken would end up allowing 2 runs in 1 inning pitch, but with his win, he's now 1-0 on the year. In their batting lineup, their second baseman, Elvis Andrus, would go 2 for 4 with an RBI. Their elite third baseman, Matt Chapman, would go 3 for 6 with a run. Their catcher, Sean Murphy, would go 3 for 5 with 3 runs. And then their right fielder, Seth Brown, would end up going 3 for 5 with 3 RBIs and 2 runs. Seth Brown was actually a home run shy of the cycle, just to get a sense of how well he was playing yesterday. And then their pinch hitting second baseman, Jed Lowry, would end up going 2 for 4 with an RBI on the day. With this win, the Oakland Athletics are now 49-36. That is the second best record in the American League West, as they've won 4 of their last 10 games. They now trail the Houston Astros by 2.5 games in the division as they hold on to the top American League wildcard spot. They sit 1 full game ahead of the Tampa Bay Rays in the wild card race, as they both have the same amount of wins, but the A's have 2 more wins under their belt. With this loss, the Boston Red Sox are now 52-32. That is the best record in the American League East, and that is currently the best record in the major leagues at the moment, as they've lost only 2 of their last 10 games. They sit 4.5 games ahead of the second place Tampa Bay Rays within their own division following this loss. Jumping out to Denver, the Colorado Rockies hosted the St. Louis Cardinals, and the Rockies were able to beat the Cardinals in this matchup. They were able to pull off a 3-2 win, as the Rockies scored all 3 of their runs in the 7th inning of this matchup. For the St. Louis Cardinals, the start would end up going to, of course, their starting pitcher for the day, Wade LeBlanc. LeBlanc would allow no earned runs and only 3 hits in 5.2 innings pitched, as he struck out 3. He would not get the decision. The loss would go to their second relief pitcher, Genesis Cabrera, who would allow all 3 of the team's runs that they would allow in 1 inning pitch, as he struck out 1. With this loss, Cabrera is 1-3 on the year. In their batting lineup, their right fielder, Tommy Edman, would go 2 for 5, as he was the only St. Louis Cardinal with more than 1 hit. For the Colorado Rockies, the start would go to Kyle Freeland, as he allowed no earned runs and allowed only 3 hits in 6 innings pitched, as he struck out 3. The win will go to the Rockies' first relief pitcher, Jhoulys Chacín. Chacín would allow no earned runs and only 1 inning pitched, as he struck out a batter. With this win, he's 2-1 on the year. The save will go to Daniel Bard, their closer, picking up his 12th save of the season. He would allow no earned runs and 1 inning pitched, as he struck out 2, only allowing a hit. In their batting lineup, their shortstop, Trevor Story, would go 2 for 4 with 3 RBIs and a run, as he hit his 10th home run of the season. Their third baseman, Ryan McMahon, would go 2 for 4. With this win, the Colorado Rockies are now 36-48. That is the 4th best record in the National League West, as they've won 6 of their last 10 games. They now trail the San Francisco Giants by 17 games in the division. With this loss, the St. Louis Cardinals are now 41-43. That is the 4th best record in the National League Central, as they've lost 5 of their last 10 games. They now trail the Milwaukee Brewers by 10 games in the division at the moment, just to give a sense of where the Cardinals sit. Jumping out to Anaheim, the Los Angeles Angels hosted the Baltimore Orioles, and the Angels were able to pull up a 4-1 win at home to officially reach 500 on the year. For the Baltimore Orioles, the start and the loss will go to Jorge Lopez. He allowed 4 earned runs and 4.2 innings pitched, as he struck out 4. With this loss, Jorge Lopez is now 2-11 on the season. In their batting lineup, the only player for the Orioles that had more than 1 hit was their shortstop, Ramon Urias, who went 2 for 3. For the Los Angeles Angels, the start and the win would go to Alex Cobb. Alex Cobb would allow 1 earned run in 7.2 innings pitched, as he struck out 6. The save would go to Raisel Iglesias, who allowed no earned runs in 1 inning pitched, as he struck out 2. Iglesias would pick up his 16th save of the season with the Angels. In their batting lineup, their first baseman, Jared Walsh, would go 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run. He was the only Angels player with more than 1 hit. With this win, the Los Angeles Angels are now 41-41. That is the 4th best record in the American League West. They've now won their last 3 games, and they've won 5 of their last 10. They now trail the Houston Astros by 9 games in the division. With this loss, the Baltimore Orioles are now 27-56. That is the worst record in the American League East, and that is currently the worst record in the American League at the moment, as they've now lost their last 2 games, and they've lost 6 of their last 10. They now trail the Boston Red Sox by 24.5 games in the division. Jumping out to Phoenix, the worst team in the National League hosted the San Francisco Giants, the team with the best record in the National League. And in this matchup, the Giants would beat the Diamondbacks 6-5, as they were able to come back and tie it they were able to take the lead in the 8th thanks to a 2-run home run from Austin Slater to give them the lead in the win. For the Arizona Diamondbacks, in this loss, the start would end up going to Jake Faria. Faria would allow 4 earned runs in 4 innings pitched, as he struck out 3. The loss would go to the Arizona Diamondbacks setup man, which would be Ryan Buchter. Buchter would allow 2 earned runs in 1 inning pitched as he struck out a batter as he walked 3. He blew his first save of the season, and he's now 0-2 on the year. In their batting lineup, their shortstop Nick Ahmed would go 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs. He had his second home run of the season. And then their third baseman Asdrubal Cabrera would go 3 for 5 with an RBI and a run. For the San Francisco Giants, on the other hand, the start was given to Sammy Long. Sammy Long would go on to allow 4 earned runs in 4 innings pitched as he struck out 6. The win would go to the Giants' third relief pitcher on the day, Dominic Leone. Leone would allow no earned runs in 1 inning pitched as he struck out 2. He's 2-0 on the year as the save was given to Jake McGee. This would be his 16th of the year as he struck out a batter without allowing a hit in the inning that he pitched. In the Giants batting lineup, their shortstop Brandon Crawford would go 3 for 4 with an RBI and a run as he had his first triple of the season. And then their second baseman Donovan Solano would go 3 for 4 with an RBI. Their catcher, Kurt Casale, would go 2 for 5 for himself. With this win, the San Francisco Giants are now 52-30. That is currently the best record in the National League and the best record in the major leagues win percentage-wise, as they've won their last 2 games and they've won 6 of their last 10. They now sit half a game ahead of the Los Angeles Dodgers in the National League West race. And like I said, they're holding on to the number 1 seed in the East, or in the National League at this very moment. With this loss, the Arizona Diamondbacks are now 23-62. That is the worst record in the National League West. That is the worst record in the National League. And right now, they are the only team in the MLB that has won less than 30% of their games this season. They've lost their last 2 games, and they've lost 8 of their last 10. They now currently trail the San Francisco Giants by 30.5 games in the division, just to show how big the gap is between the team with the best record in the league and the team with the worst record in the league. Last but not least, jumping up to Seattle, the Seattle Mariners hosted the Texas Rangers. The Rangers were able to pull off a 7-3 road win as they scored all 7 of their runs in the 3rd and 4th innings. For the Seattle Mariners, the start and the loss will go to Marco Gonzalez. Gonzalez would allow 7 earned runs in 3.1 innings pitched as he struck out 4. With this loss, Marco Gonzalez is 1-5 on the year. In their batting lineup, their third baseman Kyle Seager would end up going 2 for 2 with 2 walks, an RBI, and 2 runs. Seager would hit his 15th home run of the season as he was the only player on the Mariners with more than 1 hit. For the Texas Rangers, on the other hand, the start and the win would go to Jordan Lyles. Lyles would go on to allow 2 earned runs in 6 innings pitched as he struck out 6. With this win, he's now 4-5 on the year. In their batting lineup, their center fielder, Adolis Garcia, would go 2 for 5 with 2 RBIs. And then, also for them, their catcher, John Hicks, would end up going 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs. Hicks would go on to hit his second and third home runs of the season. And then their third baseman, Charlie Culberson, would go 3 for 4 with 2 runs. With this win, the Texas Rangers are now 33-50. That is the worst record in the American League West and the second worst record in the American League as a whole. The Rangers have won 7 of their last 10 games as they now trail the Houston Astros by 17.5 games in the division. With this loss, the Seattle Mariners are now 44-40. That is the 3rd best record in the American League West as they've lost 4 of their last 10. They now trail the Houston Astros by 7 games in the division. And alongside the Cleveland Indians, they now trail the Tampa Bay Rays by 3.5 games for the 2nd American League wildcard spot, just to show how close the Seattle Mariners are. That is what the MLB is looking like as, of course, we transition into today's games. And then last but not least, leaving the continent just to get a look of what's been going on in the world of soccer. Starting off in Copa America, Uruguay was able to beat Colombia was able to beat Uruguay off penalties to advance to the Copa America semis. As they won 4-2 on pens. And then Argentina was able to advance past Ecuador after their third goal will come from their goated forward for Barcelona, Lionel Messi. So right now that the Copa America has been shrunk from 6 to 4 teams. And at the same time, it happened in the Euros as well. Starting off with Denmark and the Czech Republic. Denmark was able to beat the Czech Republic 2-1 as they scored both their goals in the first half. Patrick Schick would score the only goal of the Czech Republic in the second half, but it just wouldn't be enough. And Denmark would be the first team to advance. Would be the third team to advance to the semifinals. And then in the other matchup, England was able to beat Ukraine 4-0. Their first goal will come from their elite Tottenham striker Harry Kane. Harry Maguire, their center back for Manchester United, would score in the 46th minute. Harry Kane would get his brace in the 50th minute, and Jordan Henderson would score in the 63rd minute to give England the 4-0 win. Now they will face off against Denmark in the semifinals. And with that said, the Copa America and the Europa champions are, like I said, both tournaments have shrunk down to 4. I will do another episode on that when it comes to it. And like I said, with those games being played, there's nothing that's going on today, especially in the world of soccer. So with that said, I want to thank everyone once again for listening to all 34 minutes of this piece. I hope all is well. Once again, today is Sunday, July 4th. And once all of today's matchups and exhibitions are done, I'll come back tomorrow, Monday, July 5th, for another episode. Until then, thanks for listening to my piece. I hope all is well, and don't forget to stay elite. Peace out. I'll catch you tomorrow.